Hello there everyone, thank you for watching. My name is Maynard Price and I am a developer of Tower of London. Today I'll be recording myself playing with the newly upgraded interface and providing some commentary that may prove helpful for those who haven't yet had the chance to play the newest version. So as you can see, the title menu has been rearranged and some of the things have been renamed. We now have the Ascend option, which refers to the normal version of the game, where you have 3 lives. You start at the first floor of the tower and fight your way up to the 100th floor in order to get the Sword Excalibur and win the game. We also have now the Escape option, where instead you start at the 100th floor and you get to play as a monster that you've unlocked through playing the normal game mode. The current idea now is that you have to beat the monster 10 times in the Ascend mode before you can unlock it for the Escape mode, and that does include bosses. So if you defeated certain bosses 10 times, you can play them in Escape mode and crush your way all the way down to the bottom. Should be very cathartic. We also have the Exhibition mode. I'll just click on that right now. It'll go, and it continues on to go. Okay, let's try the Ascend mode. I'm going to be playing a ninja, and I'll call him Ninja-san. I could select hardcore mode, which would give me only 1 life, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the normal 3 lives, since I don't think we'll get very far with this one. So here you see some of the new art that was developed. I actually made the art myself over the last week, alongside the cutscene that explains a little bit about the backstory. You get a short cutscene like this at the beginning of the game, and every time you beat a floor. Now, in Tower of London, there are 100 floors, and the floors are divided up into this grid-like area here. This is the player, right here, and the goal is to fight your way up through the floor to the boss here, the Red Skull. When you beat the boss, you can then access the portal or staircase or whatever behind it and get to the next floor. And you need to do this to get all the way up to the 100th floor, so you want to kind of be optimizing how long it takes you to get through the floor, and don't want to spend too much time on any particular one. These buttons here allow you to move in the indicated direction, or chug a potion if you happen to be low on health, as indicated over here. You can't go backwards. That's actually a very specific design decision. You have to commit to going forwards if you go forwards. If I wanted this event space, which is what these question marks are, if I wanted this event space over here, I would have to go all the way over to the right in order to get to it. I wouldn't be able to just go back for it later. So, step in the area. It's not an event space. Any space that's not an event space is a monster space. You have to fight a monster when you get there. So I'm fighting a ghost, and the new combat system looks like this. You pick from attack, defense, break, mega, or elements to make your actual combat move. And you can use a potion that doesn't take a turn, and you can change which your equipment is over here. Let's see. So these numbers here indicate how much damage that the game projects you will do. The number is only really accurate for sure for the player, because the enemy's number is based on the assumption that they're going to use a normal attack, which is a good assumption most of the time, but they could use a mega attack or an element attack. They could guard, they could do a guard break, they could do all things a player can do and a little bit more. So this number over here is somewhat misleading, only in that the enemy could choose to do something other than a normal attack. Now it looks like, because the enemy has a weakness to piercing weapons, the kunai over here, which is a piercing weapon, is going to do the most damage to it. The elemental resistances over here are irrelevant for me at the moment, because none of my elements happen to match up with that, so I won't gain or lose any damage if I try an elemental attack. armor. Looks like my lucky charm will reduce the damage the enemy does over here. So as you can see, I've manipulated which weapon and which armor I'm equipping right now, so that I do the most damage and the enemy does the least damage. And this is one of the things you're gonna have to do for every enemy you fight. If you think it's not gonna, if you think it's gonna be a close battle, if you're just gonna wipe the person out in an instant on the first turn, then you don't have to worry too much about it. But in any kind of serious battle against an enemy that could legitimately kill you, which they all could, but I mean, the ones that are really tough, you want to for sure optimize your equipment before the battle begins. So, I pick a basic attack, and I go. Ow. See, I used a normal attack, and the enemy did 6 damage instead of 2 because it used a mega attack. Now, this bar here, this blue bar that's underneath both of the player and the enemy, is called Will, or Focus, leaning toward Focus at the moment. So what this bar does is every time you make an attack, a normal attack, you gain Focus, and you spend Focus to use other actions such as using a potion, defending, using a guard break, or an element attack. And if you use a mega attack, it eats up all of your Focus at once, and for each Focus that you spend, you gain an extra damage. So I normally would do 3 damage with a normal attack, but I have 4 Focus. If I use a mega attack, it will use up all of that Focus and give me 4 more damage, so it's 7 damage. Downside to this is that you need Focus in order to defend or guard break. So if you use a mega attack and the enemy blocks it or evades it, or they simply survive and they follow up with their own really strong attack, you won't be able to defend yourself. You'll have to just eat the damage. But since the enemy is kind of weak, I'll just finish it off here. We get this nice little "an enemy has been slain" screen. The experience number is kind of silly. It doesn't really matter too much, because in this game, leveling up is only an indication of how many monsters you've killed so far. You don't gain any stats, neither do the enemies from leveling up. You regenerate your health when you level up, but that's about it at the moment. That's not a deformed feature or anything. It was actually a design decision to keep the numbers very low throughout the game. The combat is supposed to be based on experience and skill and knowledge of the enemy and timing and strategy and all these different things coming together. And grinding through waves of enemies so that you have massive numbers to throw at the enemy's numbers so you have bigger numbers than them isn't very strategic. It's not very skillful. It's not particularly satisfying to beat up on the final bosses when you just happen to have larger numbers than them. So we went with this system instead that seems to reward minor incremental optimizations. When you only have 5 health, the difference between doing 1 damage and 3 damage and taking 3 damage or 2 damage is significant. It could mean the difference between life and death. Not just the actual optimization of the equipment, but so see, we know that last time the Ghost opened up with a mega attack. Now, that's this enemy's attack pattern. Each enemy has their own attack pattern that they will always do. For example, Ghost used a mega attack to open last time. I know he's going to do it this time. I'm going to defend. See, the Ghost used all of its focus to do a mega attack in the first turn, but I defended. Well, I actually evaded, but that was something else. But even if I hadn't evaded, I would have blocked it and done no damage. Now the Ghost is wide open. It didn't do 6 damage to me. It did nothing. Now it can only do 2 damage per turn. See, it has no chance. It can't possibly fight back. But now we know the Ghost has a guard also in its attack pattern. It's done a mega attack, normal attack, then guard. If I knew about the guard, I could have used a guard break on that turn instead of a normal attack, and it would have done the same damage as a normal attack, but it would have broken through its defenses and killed it. Now, this is a rare enemy. Each floor in the Tower of London has what's called an enemy pack. It has a common enemy, an uncommon enemy, a rare enemy, and a boss. 60% of the time, when you step into a monster space, you're going to fight a common enemy. They're the weakest enemy on the floor. The uncommon enemies you will fight 30% of the time, and they are stronger than the common enemy. And then lastly, you have the rare enemies. 10% of the time, they will show up. They are roughly as powerful as a boss, maybe only a little bit weaker. So you have to treat them as if you were fighting a boss for that floor, or you will die. For example, I know for a fact that the Reaper opens up like the Ghost with a mega attack, but it starts off with a full focus bar, a very large one of 10. So, given its normal attack is 4, its first attack with a mega attack will be 14. I don't have anywhere near that much health. Even if I'm fully healed to take that, I will simply die if I don't defend against that. And there we go. I took no damage because I knew what it was going to do. I knew that through experience, the kind of experience that a player will get by playing through the game a few times, and remembering the enemies they encountered. Trust me, you don't have to get wiped out in one hit by a Reaper too many times before you start remembering, oh, this got mega attacks in the first turn, I better block. Now, as I mentioned before, this enemy is roughly equivalent to a boss in strength, so I want to take it very seriously. I want to optimize my equipment. I want to use the Silk Scarf because I take only 3 damage instead of 4 damage using the Silk Scarf. And I actually don't have any weapons that are particularly good against the Reaper because the Reaper's cape has no weaknesses or strength. It's very average. As for elemental resistances, it's actually weak against the Yang element, which means that my Kunai with the Yang element, if I use it in a power attack, see, it gets +2. Normally, an elemental attack gives you +1 damage, and then you get a damage bonus on top of that only if the enemy is weak to it, which you do less damage if they're resistant to it. So this Reaper is resistant to wind damage and it's weak to Yang damage. So because I'm using a Yang attack, a Yang elemental attack, I gain 2 instead of just the 1, or losing the 1 if it was resistant to it. Even if I used a mega attack, I only have 2 focus, so I'd be leaving myself wide open to a follow-up attack, and I wouldn't even do that much more damage. So let's stick with the elemental attack. I launch out a potion now because I'm running low on health. That was a passive parry. Now you can select the defend option and for sure guard on your next attack, but you don't get to attack that turn. Certain classes and certain weapons and armors have passive parry bonuses, so that anytime that you are attacked, you might automatically defend yourself and still get to do your normal action that turn. Same thing with evading. If your speed is higher than your enemies, there is a chance that you will just straight up dodge the enemy's attack while performing your own. Oh, there we go. I was wiped out by another mega attack. It looks like this enemy, the Reaper, opens up with a mega attack, then does a series of normal attacks so you don't know how long its attack string is, and then it follows up with another mega attack. If I was paying closer attention, I would have known exactly how many attacks it did, but I didn't. Now, we've been dumped back onto the main screen since I've died, but you'll notice another option that wasn't there before. The continue option. If you die in ascend or escape mode and you still have lives left, in this case I have 2, I started out with 3 and I just died, you'll be able to continue your game from before your last move. So I'm now in the 3rd space that I moved into. The 4th space I moved into, I fought the Reaper and died. But if I move up again, I'm probably not going to fight the Reaper. Here, it's a ghost, because it's based on chance. There's only a 10% chance that I would fight a Reaper and a 60% chance that I would fight a ghost, so this makes sense. Optimize our equipment again just for the sake of it. Now, this is an event space. When you step in a question mark event space, anything could happen. Generally speaking, you are given a scenario that triggers when you enter the space, and you must make a decision. In this case, it's a trap. Basically, you step into a room, and behind you, a trap goes off and fires a fireball at your back. And you don't have time to turn around and look at the direction it's coming from. You have to just decide, am I going to dodge left or am I going to dodge right? You make your decision, and I guessed wrong. I stepped into the fireball and took half my max health and damage. Now, the decision on which way to dodge isn't random. There are tricks to each of these traps. For example, the fireball that I just dodged into, whether you're supposed to dodge left or right to avoid it is based on the floor that you're on. If you're on a even number floor, which I'm on floor 0 right now, the first floor, then you need to dodge right. But I dodged left, and I got hit with a fireball. If you're on an odd number floor, then you dodge left. Even dodge right, odd dodge left. You wouldn't know about that until you played a few times and were paying attention enough to figure it out. It's not spelled out for you, but there are tricks to each of the traps that you will encounter. Right now, that's the only trap that's in the version of the game I'm playing, but there will be other kinds, and other events are similar in deciding what to pick. Now, treasure, another event space. This room is filled with vast riches. You also spot the body of a fallen adventurer, and some of that equipment still looks usable. What will you take? I have the option of taking the gold, taking nothing, or taking the equipment. Now, since I've played the game a couple of times, also I made the game, but ignoring that, since I've played the game a few times, I know that if I take nothing, I will go back to the dungeon screen and nothing will happen. If I take the equipment of the adventurer, I will gain either a weapon or a piece of armor and go back to the normal screen. If I try to take the gold, I'll go back to the normal screen, but 1, I won't get any gold, and 2, I will lose all my health until I only have 1 health left. Because the gold is actually cursed with some kind of magical curse, and you should have been able to guess that by the fact that 1, in this game you don't have gold. There's no way of holding gold. You only hold weapons, armor, potions, and alchemy materials that you use to create more potions. You don't have gold, so you wouldn't have anywhere to count it. So that should have tipped you off something was wrong in the first place. Then there's the adventurer lying dead in the pile of gold. I tried to make it somewhat obvious that there was something off here. Most people probably only got to lose health to the gold 1 time. But it's just a drive home that you have options to pick from. And experience in the tower will lead you to decide it's probably safest to take nothing from the room, but having been here before, I know that I can take the equipment and I'll be fine. You should be wary of most things you encounter in the tower, because the tower was designed to keep people out and to defend a very important rare magical objects. It shouldn't be a place where you just walk in and find piles of gold and walk out with them. Gotta fight some more ghosts. Actually, I just died again because I underestimated the ghost. Remember how I said before that any enemy could kill you if you weren't paying attention or taking them seriously? Yeah, that just happened to me just now. It wasn't a Reaper, it wasn't a boss, it was the common enemy. But I wasn't paying as much attention as I should have been to the fact that it opens up with a mega attack, and it killed me instantly. I only have 1 life left, so I gotta be a little more careful. Let's go. Here's the ghost. I'm gonna defend this time. Block the mega attack. It guards again. There. Now I've healed up to full health from leveling up. I know that if I have enough power with a mega attack, that as long as the ghost doesn't randomly block or parry me passively, I should be able to instantly kill it before it can do anything to me. So now we're going to go on to the boss of the floor. Shadow Demon. Bosses are special monsters in the weapon pack, the enemy pack I described before, whereas the common, uncommon, and rare monsters are based on probability. You will only ever fight the boss in the red skull space, and it will always be the boss. Also, the boss has more health and is more dangerous than almost any enemy other than a rare monster. And even a rare monster doesn't have as much health as boss has. So you're required to perform better for a longer period of time against the boss than you would against a rare enemy, who you might need to find the trick out once and be able to figure them out. Let's see. Darkness has no weakness or advantages, similar to the Reaper. It's also weak to Yang elemental attacks, but I'm going to stick with the Kusarigama because it has 1 more damage to begin with, and it doesn't rely on an elemental advantage in order to gain that, so it doesn't cost focus to give it extra damage. Looks like the Silk Scarf takes 1 less slashing damage, so it has a physical advantage against the shadows he's using against me. So I seem to be doing pretty well against this guy. Suspiciously well. He hasn't done anything yet for 3 turns, and he's a boss. Oh, there we go. Okay, so he tried to use a Mega Break on me. That's a guard break that has the full power of a Mega Attack. That would have killed me if it hit me. However, because of the attack triangle that I'm going to describe in a second, he actually did no damage and got countered pretty hard. Now, the attack triangle I was talking about. You have a normal attack, and your empowered normal attacks, which are the Mega and the Element. They count as normal attacks in the weapons triangle. They're just more powerful and use elements. Defend. A defend will block any normal attack. A normal attack, a Mega attack, an elemental attack, it doesn't matter. A defend will block it. And because the Mega and the elemental attack cost focus to use, and the defend costs up 1 focus to use, and refund the defense if it's successful, if you time your defend to hit their Mega or their elemental attack, you will waste a lot of their energy, their focus, and you won't waste any. So it's actually really good for you to use that at that time. They can't just keep spamming Mega attacks at you for you to defend, because they run out of focus when you use a Mega attack, and it costs them 1 focus to use an elemental attack. So you'll win by attrition if you skillfully defend against their attacks. Guard break attacks, however, will smash right through a defense. If you guard and the enemy guard breaks, they will do the full damage of a normal attack to you. Plus, you won't get to move that turn because you gave up your turn to defend. So they get free damage on you for doing that. And now, a Mega Break is a Mega Empowered attack that's also a guard break. The player can't do this. Only enemies can do a Mega Guard Break. And it's very powerful because I almost defended right here. I was worried that the enemy Shadow Demon hadn't made anything special of its turns in 3 turns, and it was a boss. I was afraid it was going to Mega attack me and kill me, so I was about to guard. But I gave it a chance. I attacked 1 more time, and it paid off for me, because even though it's a Mega Empowered Guard Break, it's still a Guard Break. And Guard Breaks, while they break through defenses, they actually are beaten by normal attacks. If you Guard Break someone, it's basically a big, slow, very telegraphed strike that's meant to knock through their defense. And if you use a normal attack, then you hit them first and counter them. They do no damage, they don't get to have a turn, and you actually do more damage for counterattacking them. So this is the weapons triangle. If you attack them, they can defend to beat your attack, or they guard break and they lose to your attack. If you guard break them, if they defended, they take damage and don't get to attack. If they attack, they beat you. If you defend, you block their attack, but if they guard break, they get through your defense. It's all a matter of rock, paper, scissors of deciding which move you're going to use at which time. And that decision is also based on your knowledge of what the enemy's move is going to be. This thing out here reads out the enemy's attack pattern history. They started the match with an attack, then an attack, then an attack, and then a Mega Break attack. Now we're slaying the enemy. Like a boss. And as a reward for slaying the enemy boss, we get this little bit of exposition and backstory with some of this nice art that I made myself recently. I'm actually really happy with the way that this Raven came out. This lore is drawn from the actual Tower of London's historical legends that talk about how there's always been ravens in the tower, and that the ravens in the tower, the monarchy will fall. That's actually a real legend that the crown takes somewhat seriously over there. Whether or not they believe in it is one thing, but they certainly do put a lot of money and effort into protecting those ravens. Now, stats screen. When you level up, you don't gain any stats, so this screen is only really serves to demonstrate to you what your abilities are relative to enemies and other classes. As a ninja, your speed is very high, you do a lot of damage, and you're kind of aware of things a little bit below average in other areas. Alchemy, we have 79 materials, alchemy materials, and we could spend 50 materials to buy a potion, which is good, but every time you buy a potion, it gets more expensive to buy a potion. So you have to be really careful with your potions. You can't just stock up on them and have 10 potions for the boss, which might not even help you because it costs 1 focus to use a potion, so you're draining through your power to do that anyway. But even if you could do that, the potions become arbitrarily more expensive as you buy them. So you have to, each potion becomes important, and you want to conserve them and not waste them. If you wanted to get rid of pieces of armor and weapons you didn't want, you can also convert them. Say I didn't want these nunchucks. Boom, goodbye nunchucks. Now I have some more materials. It's a very poor conversion right now. A piece of equipment that allows you much more versatility for only 20 materials. When the potions cost 50 to begin with, to get more expensive each time, it's not a lot. Right now it's mostly for clearing out your inventory if it gets full, but I just wanted to show you how the option works. Now we're on floor number 2, or floor number 1, which is the second floor, but this hasn't updated for some reason. I'll have to check into that. If I was low on health, I hit this potion button, but I'm not. I have full health. I'm level 8, and I have 49 materials, and I'm going to keep going to the next floor. There's only 2 event spaces on this floor. The location of the event spaces, as well as the number of them, and the location of the player and the boss when the dungeon loads, are procedurally generated, and they will remain the same throughout your dungeon run, but they will be different on each floor. Where is the Shadow Demon? This is the boss I just fought. That's a glitch. Now I have to fight the boss twice. It's gonna murder me. Because I'm not really feeling it. It's gonna do a... Yeah, take that. Right, okay. That was kind of odd. Anyway, Chunin. So this is the ninja pack floor, consisting of Genin, Chunin, Jonin, in that order of skill, with Genin being the common, weakest one, and Jonin being the strongest one, the rare monster. This Chunin is the uncommon one. The Kage will be the boss of the floor. Each of the ninjas has their own little tricks, whether they're going to use a mega attack or a mega break, when in their attack string they use it, things like that I need to look into. I'm also a ninja, so it's kind of funny that I'm fighting a floor full of ninjas. Lucky Charm does... I take 1 less damage, only 3 instead of 4 with the Silk Scarf, so I'm actually with Lucky Charm. This doesn't seem to matter whether you use a kunai or a Kusarigama on this enemy. If I had kept my piercing weapon, I would probably use that, but I don't think I'm going to stick with this one. Just because I like the sound effect that it makes. Okay, so the Chunin opened up with a lightning-powered mega attack on its first turn. I should be aware of that for next time. Okay. And that's unfortunate. I happen to just barely not level up. So I'm low on health now heading into this. Another Chunin. That's okay. Defend. Out of focus. Okay, that's why I can't use that attack. There we go. That's better. Okay. That was my third death, so I can't continue anymore. That run through is over. If I want to play again, I'll have to pick a different option. I'll have to start over from scratch, or I'll have to play. The exhibition button seems not working at the moment for some reason. Oh, the escape button. What is this? I don't understand. Okay, let's try this again as a hunter. Hardcore mode. Because I'm on hardcore mode now, I only have 1 life. My stats are different. I'm nowhere near as fast, but I'm more powerful than the ninja. My knowledge, which leads to my magical damage, is a lot lower. The ninja has ninjutsu and things like that, which is the only reason why its magical knowledge and things are slightly higher than someone like a hunter. Shadow Scout. So I'm optimizing my equipment, so I take only 2 damage and I deal 4 damage. Passive guard got me. Okay. Ghost. So this is the darkness floor that I was on the first time before, also. Wow, this ghost is pretty weak to this. It has a piercing weakness, and it has a resistance to crushing weapons, so it's a pretty big swing between the crushing and the piercing weapon. Plus the piercing weapon is even stronger, so that makes sense in that way. 5, so that was not what I expected. Even floor. I didn't level up. That's not good. So this is going to be painful. 4. Right, so I think I've got a feel for the Shadow Scout now. Just going to follow a rhythm here, so I'll just keep fighting Shadow Scouts. So here's a ghost again. Right, okay, here's the Shadow Demon boss. Still isn't the best bet to stick with this thing. You'll notice I'm using a lot of the same weapons and armor for the floor. That's because the floors are themed. The one floor was all ninjas, for example. This floor is all shadowy monsters. They all have similar... Well, the shadow monsters all have similar defenses and attacks, so it really helps to pick out the optimized weapon choices and stuff from the beginning. The ninjas are a little more tricky. You have to optimize for each of them because part of a ninja's entire plan is to be tricky. It makes up their attack patterns, it makes up their attacks and weaknesses. So you gotta really be on the ball for those guys. For someone like the Shadow People, when you figure out some of the best ways to go against them as a people, you can just keep using those. So we remember that he's gonna use 3 attacks, and then he's gonna use his mega attack. He'll make a quick attack, but I only hit him first when I encounter him. So Ravens of the Tower. And these are also shadow guys. Okay. There are right now 4 enemy packs. Oh. And which one you get is determined at random at the moment. So that was painful. And I'll level up again. Go away, ghost. Okay. I am having some poor luck right now with this Reaper. I noticed that the something very minor, such as that the Ranger doesn't start with as much focus as a Ninja does, actually changes up pretty drastically how you have to approach certain encounters. Because the Ninja starts off with 3 focus, he can afford to block and then go immediately to elemental attacks and then block for break or whatever. The hero, the ranger only has, the hunter only has one to start with, so he has to make it count. He has to be a little more tactical with what he's doing. Okay. So, Shadow Demon. Fighting him again. We have his number now. We know he's going to do 3 normal attacks, followed by a Mega Break. So actually, I can keep attacking him, and he'll be fine. Most bosses would completely own you if you did that. But because in this boss's case, if you don't do that, then he'll own you. If you try and block him, if you try and block his Mega Attack, he'll destroy you. Excalibur. This is, of course, the goal of the game, is to get to the top of the tower and get Excalibur. And we have Spider. That's different. So, here we go. This time the leather boots are going to be more effective than the feathered hat for reducing damage because of the way the spider is. So he attacks, then he guards, then he attacks. Kitsune. I should have overwhelmed with one attack. Okay. Treasure of 10 equipment, please. Thank you. So, attack. He's gonna guard, but I used up my focus last turn to use an elemental attack, so I can't guard break him. Next time I'll do that instead. So we're at the boss, Yuki Onna. This would be the Japanese yokai mythological spirits floor. So let's see. I don't have any fire attacks. I have slashing attack, but I have no slashing attacks either. So these don't really matter. So the feathered hat is the most defensive in this situation because it has a protection against slashing attacks. These other ones are actually weak to the slashing attacks. That's a pretty drastic change. A difference of 2 or 4 is huge when I only have 8 health and the enemy has 15. You really have to pay attention to these minor adjustments. Okay. It sort of looks like this monster is about to wind up for a big attack because, as you've seen from the Shadow Demon and the other ones, they don't tend to go this long without preparing a big attack. Plus, it has a full focus bar now. The only question is it a mega attack? Is it a mega guard break attack? If I guess wrong, I die. I'm gonna try and defend. See, okay, it was a mega attack. I guessed right. Means I don't get to die immediately. Hopefully, yes. Okay. I could have mega attacked last turn and tried to kill him before he killed me, but if the enemy hadn't had a lucky dodge or passive block, then I would have just been destroyed. Cutscene because of a little backstory. The shadow guys again. These guys really want me right now. Wow, I will get completely annihilated if I don't use that defense. But see, it has these are Yang type trap weapons, and it's weak. This Reaper is weak to Yang, so and it attacks with a Yin scythe. So if I get element attack, it's C +6 instead of +5. But I gotta defend first because it's gonna mega attack me. Okay, so there we go. The winning pattern there was guard, attack, elemental attack after setting up my equipment. And that will work 100% of the time against that monster again, unless it gets a lucky guard a lucky evade or something in there. If I hit the gold, I only have 1 health left because it's cursed. It was cursed gold. I have no potions left, so I'm probably gonna die right here if I don't kill him right now. Oh, there we go. I came within an inch of death just there, and now I have a bunch of potions. Defend, attack, elemental attack. I've got your number now. The fact that I'm going first and hitting him first isn't because my hunter is so fast compared to the enemy ghost. The Reaper will hit me first. See, I got lucky evade there. If I was 2 turns away from finishing him off, now I have to gamble on this. There we go. And the last one I wanted to get to, the deep sea, the depths. This is Helene. Helene is the name of a Greek mythological fire made of electricity that would show up to sailors on their ships in thunderstorms, and they call it Helene. So I'm fighting a magical electrical fire that lives out in the ocean at the moment. That's interesting. Bracers with the leather boots. What are you gonna do? Pretty tame. So it reminds me of Shadow Demon. We both passively blocked. That was kind of funny. Oh, it almost came up with a mega attack right there. So now I know that if I can't finish it off in 2 turns, the third turn is gonna be a mega attack, which is gonna be 4 plus its damage. That would be 6. That's no joke. That would kill me because I only don't have 6 left. Tsukumogami. It's a Japanese spirit that possessed an object. In this case, it looks like it possessed a fishing line and made it huge. So now it's a giant floating hook in the water that will jump out and hook me in. Attack it guarded. And I died. And it's hardcore, so there's no continues. And that's it for today. Stay tuned to the Twitter account and the Facebook account to keep up to date with new versions of the game. You can play the new versions on dragonviper.com/Tower of London, TOL. And thank you for watching.